Hey, hi, howdy. It's Redneck Sparky. Today marks exactly 1 week until the new Warzone Pacific map drops for those that own Vanguard. If you don't have to worry. You only get it 1 day later on December 9th. Call of Duty dropped a lot of major news yesterday, as well as the Caldera trailer, and I gotta say, I'm pretty excited. We'll be discussing some of the notable changes here that'll really adjust how gameplay is gonna happen. So, sit back, and I hope you enjoy. Let's start out with the loadout and field upgrade changes, specifically dead silence being nerfed and stopping power rounds being gone. I am super excited that this is an adjustment that they've decided to incorporate. Dead silence is way too much of a staple for people to use, and I gotta say, people can somehow manage to get around being sneaky without dead silence. So I don't think it's going to be really something that we need to worry about, especially with some of the footsteps audio that we currently have in Vanguard. But secondly, stopping power rounds, let's be honest. When you actually used them, did they make much of a difference? Most of the time, I feel like I was up against somebody and it really didn't mean much, unless they just really had a crappy gun. So, stopping power rounds being gone aren't really that much off my nose. But they also took a look at some of the dual wield melee weapons, the Cali sticks and the Sai, those swords. And a lot of people not liking them may have impacted what exactly they're going to be doing. We can expect that some of this is going to be adjusted so that it's not as lethal or potent, but I expect that they'll probably stick around still for a while. But let's talk about loadout drops. The big change is that you can't buy a loadout until after the free loadout actually happens in game. So if you want to try and get a loadout early, good luck. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to wait until that free loadout, maybe battle for that one, or save your money. And as soon as that happens, maybe you can't buy a buy and throw one out real quick so you can get a tactical advantage. Regardless, it's going to be a lot more what they call a tactical choice in the mid to end game. But they've also adjusted the lethal and tactical equipments. Some buffs and some nerfs, hopefully for the good. Lethal equipment is going to be dealing a lot more damage. So I'm not sure how that's going to play out. I feel like that's a little bit over the top. I think the lethal equipment, how we have it now, feels pretty okay. But stuff like the snapshot grenade is going to have a larger radius, and the stem will give a little bit of a movement boost. Something that I can see actually being a relatively good balance towards the game. The decoy grenade is also going to have rubber bullets that deal just a little bit of damage to enemies. So I don't expect them to be really used much more frequently, but I'm sure we'll probably see some pretty awesome clips about some low health enemies getting just completely obliterated by a decoy grenade. Gas masks are also going to be changing so it can protect against gas canisters. Now, this seems like quite the shift on a couple fronts. One, the gas canisters being something that's slightly different than the gas grenades we're used to. But the fact that the gas mask is actually going to protect against the effects of the gas canisters is something I've been longing for ever since gas grenades were in the game. What sense does it make that you can have a gas grenade that causes an effect on a player whenever they have a gas mask? I'm not sure how that's going to operate. Will the player still have to pull their gas mask on? Or if you pick up a gas mask, is it always equipped until it runs out? I'm not real sure, but it's something that makes a little more common sense. If you have a gas mask, you're not affected by the gas. But back to the gas canisters themselves. The way they've defined it is it's basically a tactical weapon to move players into a funnel where you feel it needs to be. For example, the gas canisters can be used to really reroute players off of perhaps high ground positions or reroute them so that you can perhaps even set up a flank. At the very least, it's going to be something that might provide a tactical edge whenever it comes to how you rotate around the map. They've also added some shallow water. Now, that doesn't mean you can swim like back in the blackout days, but we can definitely wade through some water, and they've added a feature so that if you're crouched in knee high water, you actually get the cold blooded effects. But while in water, you can't go prone. So I don't think we'll see any of those fish campers that like to just lay in the water and then pop up whenever you're not expecting it. But they've tried to incorporate allegedly some science with this so that if you have fire based equipment, it's only going to cause smoke if it hits the water. You're not going to catch on fire if you're in the water. You're only going to cause the fire to be extinguished. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm not confident that's going to be a completely fleshed out feature. I definitely feel like people are still going to take fire damage if they are hit with a Molotov cocktail, for example, while in the water. But we'll see. Maybe the effects won't last as long if that's the case, or perhaps they won't even get affected by the fire at all. Now, there's a lot of things that are going to be changing with the contracts and public events. We'll likely see a lot of the same things, but there's a new one that they've added for big game bounty, which basically means it's going to target the operator with the most kills. It's going to be similar to the most wanted contract, but it's going to be specific to only that player with the most kills. I'm not sure exactly, because they haven't explained what's going to happen if you have the top player tied with another top player with the same number of kills. Perhaps somebody's got 20 kills on the map and there's 2 people that actually have 20 kills. Who is it going to priority? Is it going to be the one that got there first, or is it going to be both of them, or what exactly is going to happen? But it's only going to be once per game, and it's going to be known as a top secret contract. But as you can expect, they've redacted exactly what you can expect until you can pick it up. So we don't exactly know when it's going to happen, but it's going to be something that is a recurring theme in each game. They've also explained more public events will be expected in the Caldera map. Restocks, resurgences, and cash drops, things that we're familiar with previous Warzone events or, Rebirth Island, we'll see on a larger Caldera map, which I'm pretty excited for. I enjoy the typical Battle Royale style, but there's something about Rebirth Island that I really love. It just keeps bringing me back, and it feels like even if I play a match for, say, 15 minutes, if I end up dying, it's not a complete loss, because in Rebirth Island, it's so much quicker. So I expect that Caldera would be the same. Cash drops, they said, was the same event that we had in Operation Flashback. Of course, there's more redacted weapons crates that are going to be appearing around the item, which contain the coveted redacted blueprints. But the blueprints, just like the operator skins, calling cards, emblems, and so on, are something that we should expect from Call of Duty. So it's not really big news there, but something that we can see a lot of people likely grinding for. And of course, there's the Ricochet anti-cheat, which is going to drop with the map. Now, I'm a little hesitant about how good this anti-cheat's going to be. Yes, we all need anti-cheat, and I'm excited that we're going to be getting something. But for one, this is for PC. So console players, if they're jailbreaking it or they're doing anything through a PC, there may be some capability there for additional hacking. But also, Ricochet already announced that some of the code's been released. So I'm not a developer. I'm not real sure exactly to what extent the code was released, if it's something that can be intrusive and leveraged by hackers. But it does make me a little cautious about how reliable this anti-cheat is going to be. Is it only a matter of time before some hacker figures out the right ones and zeros to get in the game and have their aimbots and their wall hacks again? Or is this something that they're going to have persistent teams dedicated to preventing hacking? We'll see, and time will tell, of course. But for now, I think on launch day, we'll at least have some level of playability rather than the current status of Warzone as we know it, where if you get into a lobby, you're almost always guaranteed to have a hacker. And of course, before we get the map, we can expect the Secrets of the Pacific event, which is basically going to be a way for players to get extra things, cosmetics, and what they define as rare, epic, and legendary rewards, probably blueprints and emblems and such, that immerse them with the new Caldera map a little more ahead of time. I'm suspecting something like the transition from Modern Warfare to Cold War, where we sort of got the Woods character into it before Cold War dropped, but perhaps a little dialed back. Of course, we already have Vanguard, the game's already released, but this is really a release for the map, Caldera. So I'm expecting they'll have some creativity with that to really showcase some of the changes from the current map to the new one. We should be expecting a lot more intel to drop as Season 1 launches and we progress with the new Caldera map and some of the public events. But for now, that's all they've really released other than the trailer. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have based on what Call of Duty released yesterday. The trailer's up and following next. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you really enjoyed it and you want some more, and hit that bell if you want to be notified when I drop content next. Again, this has been Redneck Sparky. Thanks a lot. I'm out.
Travelers, explorers, adventure seekers. With all travel bans to Caldera lifted, you may now book tickets to Caldera on Pacific Horizon Air. Caldera, a hidden paradise. Enjoy awe-inspiring landscapes. Visit sites from Caldera's storied past Survey the land from above by climbing natural rock formations. Explore underground caves. Take a dip in a river or stream. Fuel up on the artisanal organic produce harvested locally. Caldera, the Emerald of the Pacific. Free flights starting December 9th. Pacific Horizon Air is not responsible for any death, parachute-related accidents, gas-related deaths or injury, anti-aircraft fire, tennis elbow, food poisoning, or any similar instances. Should Pacific Horizon Air become engaged in aerial combat, an early exit may be required. What are you waiting for? Book your trip today.